to pay attention to all of the things that happen on the table with the graveyard and keep track of it all. Joe Bernal and Michael Jacob.
So here we go. We do not have those. There's round 7 here at the Star City Games Invitational in Indianapolis. I'm Gavin Verhey with Adrian Sullivan. On your right, Michael Jacob, former U.S. national champion, Pro Tour top 8 competitor, most recently in Amsterdam, and he I don't know what he's playing in this event actually, so it'll be interesting to see. We watched him earlier, had a little bit of trouble against Michael had a little bit of trouble against Edgar Flores' Cobblade deck. On your left, Joe Bernal, he played this Bantblade deck to undefeated record in the standard portion. I see Stoneforge Mystics in his hand again.
Yep.
Unsleeve, resleeve. Here's what he's doing.
I think I see a Tarmogoyf in Michael Jacob's hand.
I also see a Tarmogoyf.
Thoughtseize from Joe.
Oh, I see a Bolt and a Daze? Is he playing, wow. I wonder if he's playing Threshold. Bolt, Daze, Mental Misstep? That smells like Threshold to me.
Is that a Bolt? It's red, but...
That's a Bolt, I'm pretty sure.
I thought it might be Curdape.
I thought it might be Curdape for a second, too, but I'm pretty sure it's just a really old Lightning Bolt.
Cabal Therapy.
Okay.
One of my favorite cards.
So, Michael doesn't play a second land. It was pretty rough. So he missteps the Cabal Therapy. So it looks like Joe's playing the blue...
The black-white
discard deck. Michael Jacob gets wastelanded, no second land.
Top for Joe, and says go.
So Joe on 1 land, Mike on 0 lands.
Says go. Upkeep, activate the top, find a land, there's the land.
He found it. Just 1, but that's all he needs for now. Let's see.
Says go. Michael Jacob. Is that a land go? It is. Wooded Foothills. End of the turn top. I think I see a Bob there.
Let's see.
Cabal Therapy, 3 cards down. Draw.
Michael Jacob making sure to sit on that Wooded Foothills so he can't be wastelanded in case Joe has one. Good play.
Are we going to see Dark Confidant, Bob Mocker? Stoneforge Mystic, which does not have a name.
Bitter Blossom, alright.
Bitter Blossom.
So many threatening 2-drops. Dark Confidant, Bitter Blossom, Stoneforge Mystic, probably him to Turok.
Yep.
Just, 16 of some of the... 16, let's see, 4 Dark Confidant, 4 Mystic, 4 him, some number of Bitter Blossom. 12 plus of the most deadliest 2-drops you could think of. And in the meantime, Mike Jacob cracks fetch lands and gets a Volcanic Island, and it's going to go for a Brainstorm. And picks up 3 cards. We can see his Ponder, Greensun Zenith, Misty Rainforest. Now that Greensun Zenith will help him out here because he can shuffle and go get a Dryad Arbor, which will be pretty nifty for accelerating his mana. It looks like he's playing No Rug, so what Reed Duke top 8 with last week. I got excited for a second at the possibility of it being Threshold, but No Rug, also a pretty respectable deck. Reed Duke just made top 8 of Grand Prix Providence with it, and it's got a lot of press, a lot of discussion. The No, of course, standing for Natural Order, which you can cast to go find Progenitus. Quite the threatening creature. So Mike carefully brainstorms back. And then I think we're probably going to see Misty Rainforest and cracking it to cast Greensun Zenith to get 3rd land and shuffling his library.
Players, we only need 1 more person for a $10 draft.
So Daze is that Bitter Blossom, and I think we're going to see, once again, I think we're going to see Greensun Zenith here. Yep, crack it. And here comes Tropical Island. Tap Tropical Island for Greensun Zenith. Little known fact about Greensun Zenith for everyone out there, it shuffles twice. Shuffles once to get the creature and once to shuffle it back into your library. So if your opponent has Kosi's Trickster, it triggers twice. Not that would ever happen, but it's just worth noting. Psychogenic Probe, if that's the thing. So Joe Bernal has Diabolic Edict on Michael Jacob, which gets rid of that Dryad Arbor. Hold on, Rashad, he put Greensun Zenith in his graveyard. It needs to be shuffled back into his deck. The Greensun Zenith. Yeah. So there's a Zenith in Jacob's graveyard that should be shuffled back into his deck right now. and I alerted Rashad to make sure that it got shuffled back in because it's currently in his graveyard. But it's probably too late to go back now. In the meantime, Joe Bernal plays Stoneforge Mystic. Mike Jacob has a Tarmogoyf.
Alright, this is not supposed to be here.
And this is an especially... Okay, it's not that bad. I was gonna say, it would have been really awkward if that was the only sorcery in the graveyard, but the sorcery's in Joe Bernal's graveyard. Make sure that's not what's going on. So it looks like they're talking about the ruling, and we'll see what happens. Simple mistake. Just went to go get Dryad Arbor, and accidentally put it in his graveyard, because that's what you do when spells resolve, is put it in your graveyard. I mean, it makes sense. So they resolve the issue. We're still talking about it, sounds like. Let's see. So, currently, looks like the Zenith stays there. So, stays in the graveyard, too late to be shuffled back in. Both players get a warning, I would imagine. And draws back up. He's got a bolt for that Mystic, so Mystic goes down. Hierarch comes down from Mike Jacob, and in crashes Tarmogoyf. And looks like there are 4 types.
$10 draft.
Looks like 4 types to me. Instant, land, creature, sorcery.
Draft number 7.
I don't think there's an artifact in there yet.
Okay. Looks like a go in a moment.
Let's see, Joe has another Stoneforge Mystic in his hand. He's got a Bitter Blossom he just drew. He's got Cabal Therapy. Alright, there's another Mystic. He just wants to deploy his batter spell as soon as possible.
Fetch, 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 fetch.
Jite.
Mizawa's Jite, actually, yeah.
That was a good one.
An actual historical object, the Jite.
That's accurate. But he immediately cracks that to go Cabal Therapy on Mike Jacobs' hand. What do you think your name here for Joe Bernal?
So he named Natural Order there. I think you just name whatever you're afraid of, right? And so the Natural Order represents an almost immediate win. So if he places Michael Jacob on that deck, then just name what you're afraid of. That's something to be scared of.
Interesting. So, that Tarmogoyf is actually a 6 because there is a Bitter Blossom in the graveyard, which is a tribal enchantment.
Oh boy.
We got some tribal action going on. Tarmogoyf, another 6/7, enters the fray.
Oh, look at that. That is a lot of damage. And Joe, after a start that looked like it was very dominating on those first couple of turns, ends up falling to a slow start for Michael Jacob, who was struggling with mana in the beginning.
Yeah, he just missed his land drop several turns in a row. At one point, had just no lands in play, but was able to creep back into the game. Let's see, players go to their sideboards.
Now, one of the things that Michael Jacobs' deck has going for it is that it's very, very possible, because of the nature of Natural Order, that he can win just kind of right off the top. You know, Joe's deck is aggressively discarding Michael, but it can't stop the top of the library.
Right. You can just draw that, and the one thing about Joe's deck is he does have Diabolic Edict. We saw that in the first game. So you can Edict away that Progenitus. But they still 10/10 protection from everything. Rough card to deal with. Joe also has Gatekeepers, I would imagine. A lot of the black-white decks do, especially if they taking notes from Caleb Durward, who's been a big champion of the archetype. So, what kind of cards come in from the sideboard for these players?
You know, I could easily see Joe having more access to discard. I could see him putting in some more Edict-like effects. If he's actually deeply interested in this kind of matchup, Perish is a great sideboard option. Perish takes care of a Progenitus. Perish would be the scariest thing he could have.
And it also kills all the Tarmogoyfs and
Yep.
Noble Hierarchs. Yeah, it's a mess to deal with that.
Yeah. On the other hand, from Michael Jacobs' side, dealing with the aggressive discard like that, I'm not sure what if mental misstep and is just enough for the once, and if he just says, well, whatever, I don't really care. I'm gonna play for a different part of the game.
Yeah, Misstep is the interesting card in this matchup. I think you want to have it so you can hit Cabal Therapies, Thoughtseizes. It's just so narrow in the number of cards that Swords of Plowshares, but
Right.
I mean, it's important that you hit those cards. It's very important you hit those cards, and I think Misstep is going to be pretty awesome for Mike Jacob here. So players shuffle up. I wonder if the matchup, like, so it's a black-white deck against the no-rug deck. How do you feel this matchup plays out?
I mean, I think it basically depends on how much the black-white deck wants to win this matchup. And like we talked before with Legacy, Legacy is a format with so many opponents that you can't necessarily expect to fight single opponents. You have to fight kind of broad degrees of deck, numerous different kinds of deck. And so if you feel like you can hit enough with the right cards, I think black-white will have the advantage. But it has to have those cards like a Perish, you know, because otherwise I think that Michael Jacob is fully capable of putting down a very fast clock, protecting it with a minor amount of disruption, and then maybe just winning off of a combo. In a lot of ways, it's like an aggressive version, to my mind, of, in Standard, the way that Splinter Twin can win off the top.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, kind of, where you just draw the other half of your combo, except in this case the combo is just any green creature plus natural order.
Yeah, it's a very open-ended combo. Like, what I'm saying is not that
Right,
the
right,
combos
right.
are the same, but that you don't have to have anything in your hand to prep you.
Sure.
You can just be like, oh look, I drew a Splinter Twin, I win. Or, oh look, I drew a natural order, I probably win.
Right. The one big difference, of course, is Progenitus takes like two turns to kill, which can be very relevant in Legacy,
Yes,
where
absolutely.
you know you can attack through it, you can find an answer to it, you can just Tendrils of Agony your opponent while they have a 10/10 sitting out there.
Absolutely. Which is part of the reason that we should have realized, now that I think of it, that Michael Jacob was going to play something ruggy.
Oh, sure. He does like these decks.
Oh, what happened to his rug? Really tied the room together.
Yeah, so he's playing no rug. I wonder how close it is. We don't have deck list, but I wonder how close it is to the Reed Duke list. I wonder if it's got Twisted Image. That's like one of his that's like one of his favorite cards to play. What does Twisted Image do in Legacy? Can we do anything with that?
It doesn't really do very much.
Kills Noble Hierarch.
But that's not very much, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's a world of skites and birds and hierarchs or anything like that. There's not going to be a Precursor Golem in play, at least in any game that I can imagine being likely.
What's the username?
Michael Jacob keeps his hand.
All right,
Joe starts off with Land Go, it looks like. Michael Jacob with Volcanic Island.
And Verdant Catacombs for Joe. He's got GT in his hand, so he cracks out on turn 2. I think we're going to see one of the ubiquitous 2-drops here. Which 2-drop do you think it is that we're going to see? Cracks Marsh Flats, the shortcut.
I think it's going to be Bitter Blossom, because that's going to say what I'll say with the rolling of the die. It's going to be whichever one he has.
Seems like he probably has less Bitter Blossoms than other ones, though. It's probably less likely, I don't know.
That's probably true.
Tidehollow Scholar, another good 2-drop.
Yeah. Now, one of the ways that Joe can potentially walk away with this game is by getting out a early Umezawa's Jite and having it do work. Looking for a Daze here, or he can just put a Lightning Bolt on top of his library and kill this tomorrow.
Right, exactly. So, he can take a card and then just go untap Lightning Bolt it, and that's that.
He's saving a Bolt on top, and underneath that is a Natural Order.
Natural Order, another good one to pick. So let's see. This is Jite, Daze, Natural Order, Brainstorm, Misty Rainforest. Is that Vendelion Click or another land?
I can't tell. The one that's underneath the Misty Rainforest.
Misty Rainforest.
I can't quite see what it is.
Yeah, I think it's... I was going to say it's land at first, but I think it's actually Vendelion Click or some kind of creature.
I think it's Vendelion Click. I think you're right. Now, if you see this hand, what do you take here? Do you take the natural order?
Well, I think it's really fishy that Jacob left that daze there. But, let's see, turn 2. I might just take the Brainstorm. I don't know, I mean, the GT is going to be a problem. I guess if you think it's going to be around, you maybe just take the GT. Because you can't afford for him to go turn 3 click, next turn GT. Like, that's pretty scary. It also depends on what you think Mike Jacob hid, because, like, if you think he hid lands, so he does take the Brainstorm, then, okay, so he has Lightning Bolt. Look at Jacob's posture, just casually, just
totally calm and confident.
Calm, confident. Doesn't matter what situation he's in, he just always has the same reaction.
And over on the side, off camera, Rashad is driving an imaginary car, where he was. And we see a Stoneforge. There we go. Oh, never mind. Stoneforge Mystic from Joe.
I think we're going to see GT. Oh, Sword of
Fire and Ice. The good sword.
Sounds good.
Michael Jacob casting a Lightning Bolt on the Tidehull Sculler at the end of the turn, retrieving his Brainstorm, cracking a land, so he can cast this Brainstorm at the end of Joe Bernal's turn.
Alright, and what do you think you want to see on this Brainstorm?
A creature. Hopefully 2 creatures. A green source and 2 creatures.
Tarmogoyf would be quite excellent right now. So let's see. So it looks like Mike Jacob's hand is like GT, Natural Order. I'm trying to figure out what he drew. Okay, what is that card he just drew? Oh, Brainstorm? No, I think he already had the Brainstorm.
Well, he got, no, he drew into another Brainstorm. Edgar, man, what do you got, Director?
Standard open, pairings for the next round are now being posted.
So, once again, Brainstorm, one of the most important decisions you can make is how to set up your Brainstorms. And MJ puts 2 cards back very diligently, thinks about it for a while.
I'm starting to come to the same realization. Tighten up!
Cracks Wooded Foothills. So he found the 3rd land he was looking for. And still has to deal with the impending issue of Stoneforge Mysticing in that sword or GT or whatever Joe Bernal wants.
Charlotte Stable, my bad. Charlotte Stable on Twitter pointing out that Michael Jacob has been reordering his graveyard at random times, and even though, as others might note, that doesn't actually influence anything in the way that Michael Jacob's deck is set up, it is still a rule in Legacy. I very much agree.
At the Liliana table. And table 8, Donnie Wise and Derek.
So there's a Tarmogoyf Mike Jacob was looking for. So he's got a Tarmogoyf down, and it's only a matter of time. Oh, there's a Vindicate, though. So,
at the Derek table.
Vindicate down. Stoneforge Mystic serves for a single point of damage.
I think we got Natural Order, Green Sun's Zenith, or if you're from the continent, Zenith.
Kind of like Zenith thing here. So then you can
get a Dryad Arbor.
Yeah, I mean, although I guess the issue is you can't really. The thing is, against the black-white deck, you can't just Natural Order with no other creatures because you're just setting yourself up to be gatekeeper.
Yeah,
or,
all kinds of problems can happen.
Yeah. So it just goes for main phase Vidalian Click.
And he sees Swords to Plowshares, Chrome Mox, the sword he already knew about, and Umezawa's GT.
Wow, interesting. Alright, he takes the sword.
So do you say Zenith or Zenith?
I say Zenith, but Zenith sounds way cooler.
Yeah, well, Zenith does sound cooler, but I'm from Wisconsin where we would say Zenith.
Which way is correct?
They're both correct, actually. One is the European or English version, and the other is the American English version. The further east you get, the more likely you're to hear Zenith sound.
Which is the American English version?
Zenith.
Okay, cool, because I'm American, so...
America.
Yeah. Wouldn't want to use any incorrect
I
terminology.
need to know them foreign words.
Yeah.
I don't want to use them. And we get the click hopping in the way of the Stoneforge Mystic.
So
the
GT gets
Umbazawa's
active.
GTA is going to have 2 counters on it, and a dead board of no creatures, but those 2 tokens are really significant. I believe that Michael Jacob has a GTA of his own. There it is. He can crack and kill that.
Just legend rule it up.
Yep.
So pays 2, plays GTA, trades up with GTAs, and down comes Crimson Zenith. Make sure he shuffles it in this time.
Yep.
You have 50 minutes. You may begin.
Down comes the Dryad Arbor.
If you don't have an opponent, please raise your hand and call the judge over.
Interesting little interaction. Just 1 mana, go get Dryad Arbor.
Yep.
And, you know, you can also just get a Tarmogoyf later on, or whatever you want to use. And let's see. So there's the Dryad Arbor in play. Now, if you're Mike Jacob, do you think you can afford a natural order on this board and just hope that he doesn't have it?
We currently have 3
He's got a Jace too, so I guess you just play the Jace, right?
Well.
Alright, swords the Dryad Arbor. Down comes resistance.
I think that it's too much time. I think that it's too many turns against a deck that might have Edict, Gatekeeper, otherwise.
Right. Although that swords to me, I mean, he just saw his hand with the V-Click, right? That swords to me is a sign that he hasn't drawn any answer to Progenitus. Because he knew that Joe, I mean, he just saw his hand, so he knew Joe didn't have anything to combat it. And I don't think that's changed.
And now Jace is out of reach.
Yep.
A land will change that.
There are also 3
Noble
slots
Hierarchy,
remaining.
okay, kind of a
3
land.
slots.
Sorta.
Would you like to fill out that queue and come on?
Opts for another V-Click instead. So down comes the V-Click. And let's see. Draws a him. Ooh,
Ouch.
that's brutal.
At random. Time to go.
Alright, so Mike Jacob has 3 cards in his hand, I believe. Yep, 3 cards. So let's see which 2 are taken away. Roll some dice to determine. Alright, so he hits Noble Hierarch and Jace, leaving him with Natural Order. So he still has Natural Order. And he attacks for 1 with the Stoneforge Mystic. Mike Jacob's like, fine, whatever. Take 1 damage. You do that. And down comes Dark Confidant.
Dark Confidant, Bob Marr.
Junior.
It's true, he's a junior. Bob Marr Sr. does very occasionally play Magic.
Alright, flips Gatekeeper. Alright, so now we know that. Be careful with that Natural Order.
And the Gatekeeper perhaps being cast here. Yep. Gatekeeper, well, maybe not. Still thinking. Lots of choices. What am I going to do? I don't know.
I guess you use Gatekeeper away the Vanilla Click probably, right? I mean, you have Dark Confidant and Stoneforge Mystic that are going to get you so far ahead. Or you can just ship the... You've got an equipment in your hand, maybe?
I think he has a sword in his hand, right?
Did MJ put that on the bottom?
Oh, he put it on the bottom. That's right. He didn't put the sword in the bottom. He put that other one on the bottom. Okay.
Yeah, so he just Gatekeeper's away the V-Click, and Michael Jacobs sets it in his graveyard.
See a Thoughtseize for the last card, which is Natural Order, I believe, right? Boing.
Yep. Away goes that. So Mike Jacob has nothing right now. Looks like good chance we're going to be headed into a Game 3.
Nothing versus Bob.
Huh. Yeah, that's not a good place to be for Michael Jacob. See what he finds.
Brainstorm. Is that, what was that? There was a red spell that looked like... Almost looked like Squee to me.
Is that the Grim Lavamancer? I think it might be Grim Lavamancer. Lavamancer's typically pretty good in these matchups.
Let me see it. Let me see it. What the heck is
I'm
it?
pretty sure it's Grim Lavamancer. He's going to play it this turn. So he cracks his Misty Rainforest. Yeah, he's forced to crack it, even if he didn't want to, because it needs the red for the Lavamancer. Yep, it's
Grim Lavamancer, okay. Oh, another Gatekeeper. And upon seeing it, Michael Jacobs scoops it.
Alright, so we're heading into Game 3. It's actually a really interesting matchup. This was like a top deck war almost back and forth. Mike Jacob, I think, unlike last game, Mike Jacob had a pretty good position this game and just fell apart and started to crumble. That hymn was really well timed for Joe Bernal.
I mean, what it looked like to me is that his mana was just like a smidge behind where he needed it to be, so that he couldn't cast the Jace. Then the hymn strips away the Jace and another random card. And
this was booster draft.
Always struggling to get something out there.
Please come on to the
Now,
side of the stage. Booster draft number 8. Your event is about to begin.
For those of you who are regular tournament players, as well as lovers of Star City Games, the Star City Games app is available in the App Store. And this is available right now for the iPhone. It will be available for the Android soon. This is Evan Irwin's baby. And from all accounts, it's a gorgeous, awesome program which you can use to keep track of life. You can use to keep track of the time in a match. It has lots of features that you can use in match.
You can read articles
but
too,
then,
yeah.
Outside of the matches,
Yeah.
if you're traveling, you can have a really nice means of reading articles. Now, you can read articles on your phone if you'd like otherwise, but what this does is it's set up to make it even easier and better.
Right. Yeah, you can read you can read all the free articles you want. The premium articles aren't up on there yet, but you can read all the free articles you want. You can read me. I'm pretty awesome. You can read,
pretty awesome.
You can
true.
read Reed Duke, who just wrote a tournament report. He got 3rd at Province, I believe. And he showed an entire tournament report. You find that on SCG Mobile. For $5, it's just so much value for $5. And it's only going to get better as time goes on. Like you're going to add functionality to the app. If I have an Android, unfortunately. So
Unfortunately?
for these purposes. I can't get SCG Mobile, which is very sad to me. It is extremely unfortunate. But maybe you guys are not as foolish as me. And
if you'd like, I'll talk to Evan and see if he can get you an iPhone.
I actually like my Android a lot.
Fair enough. No.
Really big fan. Although I got this new Gingerbread update. This is exactly what when Mike Jacob comes back to listen to this matchup, like in a week from now, he's gonna be like, "This is what they're talking about seriously." But yeah, I got this new update to my phone that a new version was just released, and not a big fan of the new update. But but I like my phone in general.
Now, for those of you who are curious, this weekend we're going to be getting $50,000 in prizes to our invitational participants.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much going to be awarded here. Plus, you have the standard open series on the side, which is you have this entire invitational plus an entire open happening right next door. It's incredible.
Now, that's a lot of iPhones you could buy for that, as well as apps.
So many iPhones. You can buy the Star City mobile app so many times.
It's true. It's true.
I can't do math, but that is a lot of Star City mobile apps. You can give it all your friends. So, alright. Looks like Michael Jacobs is going to take a mulligan here. It's deck 2. No. We're dead.
Okay, so we're waiting the opening actions of Michael Jacob Joe Bernal to be wrapped up. Michael, as always, basically looking unaffected by the world.
Looks like
none of this can affect me. It's just, anything that happens, just whatever.
Yeah, Mike Jacob just has this steely resolve.
The only person I know that reminds me of this is Mike Hron.
I can see that. I can actually see that.
He plays the same way, just well, whatever.
I mean, I actually see it with Finkel and Kai too. Some of the greats, how they just are so stoic when they play.
But even those guys, Kai and John, they both tend to smile and stuff, even occasionally, or at least look a little bit more like they're involved in what's happening. Whereas MJ and Hron always seem a little bit aloof. Like this isn't actually happening to them. It's just, whatever.
Just, You're half here, half on some other plane of existence, right?
Yeah, like pretty much.
But in reality, Mike Jacobs' head is totally in the game.
Oh, absolutely.
Which is incredible. He's thinking so far ahead. Like I said earlier, I've played against him several times in Grand Prix, and he is one of the most formidable opponents I've ever played against.
Caleb Durward in the background there.
Watching
Crossing
on.
Arms, looking.
Watching as the deck he's championed, the black-white deck, takes on Michael Jacob.
Caleb is in kind of the lower portion of the field today. Island from Michael Jacob, one of the few basics in his deck.
Marsh Flats out of Joe Bernal. Just like Mike Jacobs' hand, I see a natural order. Oh, there's Grim Lavamancer.
Not only can Grim Lavamancer do a lot of work on the little small creatures that Joe has, but it also nicely soaks up a Gatekeeper.
Yeah, I mean that Lavamancer is going to do a lot of Lavamancing this game. It's if it doesn't get killed, that card is just phenomenal. It looks like Joe's going to go for swords here, and I think Mike's going to take the opportunity to daze it.
Nope.
Oh no, he just lets it happen. If you look at Mike's hand right now, he has both Dryad Arbor and Natural Order naturally drawn. So if he finds another land, he can play that, untap, play Dryad Arbor, and without passing priority, cast Natural Order. Now once again, that's really dangerous because it walks you right into a Gatekeeper Malakir, right into a Diabolic Edict. But with Michael Jacobs' hand right now, it might be one of his few ways to fight back. He doesn't really have a lot of action.
Daze stops him to Turok.
No, he draws another Grim Lavamancer though. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, Mike Jacobs' hand is not really good this game. Okay, so down comes Phyrexian Revoker. Revoker names Grim Lavamancer, and Wasteland hits Volcanic Islands. And Dryad Arbor comes down for Mike Jacob. And now Mike in a pretty rough spot. He's got Lavamancer and Dryad Arbor, not much else going on in his hand. Draws a Jace with one land. Very rough position. It can't even Lavamancer if he finds a red source because it's been Phyrexian Revoker. Joe Bernal goes for Stoneforge Mystic.
Ouch.
Rough.
Michael Jacob, just a wave of the hand. Yep.
Yep, I mean it happens. Mike Jacob has to draw pretty well to find himself way out of this one.
Yeah, there's a pretty big hole here. And if we sculpt the perfect hand out of this, it's not going to be, what? The GTA is going to come down and cause a real problem, and it'll be at least 2 turns before Michael Jacob can deal with it if he draws perfectly.
Yeah. It is a rough situation. There's Chromox for Joe Bernal, which means he gets to equip the GTA this turn, and put GTA down, and equip it to the Revoker. So Revoker is probably going to trade with the Lavamancer, but
I see a block happening.
Yep. So they trade up, but the GTA gets 2 counters, and rough situation for Mike Jacob. All right, let's see what he draws.
Looking for land here.
Oh, he found a land.
There's a land.
I mean, I guess you could have like land Tarmogoyf or something, but I mean against that GTA.
Yeah, it doesn't even do very much with the GTA there.
I mean, I guess if you're Mike Jacob here, the next card you want to draw is probably Brainstorm. And you brainstorm into just like the right cards,
yes.
like land Tarmogoyf or something. Or land Tarmogoyf and GTA would be fine.
Does a little bit of pumping. Pumps twice, it looked like.
Yep.
Just to get the clock down.
So
5 damage.
Drops Jacob to 16. And there's a Sculler for Joe Bernal.
Oh, ouch.
Well, sees V-Click, Natural Order, Jace, Grim Lavamancer. None of those cards, I think, probably Joe doesn't feel any of those are all that threatening right now, but I guess he takes the Lavamancer, despite being able to just GTA it away.
I mean, I think I almost just take Jace.
Yeah.
Just because.
Right. And there's a Daze drawn from Mike Jacob. Yeah, I kind of agree with taking the Jace there.
Yeah, Mike Jacob not long for this world right now.
I mean, he's still sitting at 20, so he's got about 3-4 turns maybe.
There's a sword in hand. Oh my goodness.
If Mike draws Brainstorm and finds like lands and the right action he needs, he might have a shot. But other than that, he's pretty far removed.
Now he can. I would actually consider not getting GT counters, so just so I could have a Sword of Fire and Ice in play on my Tide Hollow Speller. Even for one turn, I mean, I'd be okay with that.
So he looks like he pumps both times to hasten his clock.
Here comes Stoneforge Mystic, getting the last, I think, piece of equipment in the deck, which is Batterskull. I'm pretty sure that's the combination that he has is GTA, Batterskull, Sword of Fire and Ice.
Yeah, it seems like a common combination. Now, some people have a sideboard piece of equipment, but...
And
like Joe Bernal
MJ draws a Mountain.
Alright, and he
Too
packs
little,
him
too
in.
late.
And that's it. So Mike Jacob has been under the camera twice so far. So far, 0-2 in camera matches. Unfortunate.
It's true.
For Mike Jacob.
Now, Mike Jacob, this was table 3, so those are his only 2 losses. But Joe Bernal wins 2-1 there against Michael Jacob.
Mike Jacob, a great player, just his deck did not give him much to do with. He kept it pretty a six that was not very exciting.
Yeah.
Like